Hi there, Level 3 coaching students. Donnel Milam here with the Milam Group and Frederick and Clark out of Brentwood, Tennessee. And I'm coming to you here briefly. I'm not going to take up much of your time, but I'm so excited because next month in Phoenix, I'm going to be graduating. I started CORE 2 years ago in January. And actually, it was 2 years ago next month in November that I first went to Scottsdale and met Kendra Cook. I went there at her invitation to kind of take a look and see what I thought about the CORE. At that time, I was a one-woman rodeo in real estate. I did it all. I wore every hat. I took care of every buyer, every showing, every contract, every signature, all my marketing. And I was a little bit I was a mess. Let's just say that I was an absolute mess at that time. I could not take on one more client. I could not close one more transaction, and I was working 80 hours a week. And I knew I was physically exhausted, and I was not managing my money, and I was not doing a very good job. And I remember that Rita asked me when I first started. She said, "How much do you think you spend on marketing a year?" And I thought, I don't even know how much I spend on marketing. Maybe $1,000 a year on marketing. So that kind of tells you a little bit about what my knowledge was about my business, which was very little at that time. So I remember being at the summit right before I started the CORE, and I went up to Kendra and I was in tears, and I said, "I've got to get into this program." And Kendra said, "Be sure that you write a killer essay at the end." And so at the very end, my intent essay, I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and I was begging the CORE to allow me to come in and participate in this program because I knew that I had to change. Something had to give. Either I had to completely be okay doing half of the volume, or if I wanted to take my business to the next level, I knew that I had to listen to what they had to say, and I had to be willing to do it. So they did accept me. I was so thrilled. I was so excited about that. But then, now what? Now I'm faced with forms that I have no clue what they are. A P&L, never heard of it. And I didn't want to look at it, quite frankly. It was not a very pretty sight. My family budget, my home budget was not a pretty sight. And but slowly and surely, month after month, and keeping at it, it really began to change. But I will tell you, the first 6 months were very, very tough. They were very, very hard. And there were a lot of challenges for me personally, and I ended up in the bottom 5. I remember that very clearly. If you're in the bottom 5, you don't forget that. And I was on a mandatory call with Rick, and my son came home and he saw the CORE rankings, and he's like, "Mom, you're in the bottom 5." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know I am." So that was really tough. But I hired a great RP1 who the two of us began building this program with CORE, and as she would say today, we are, if there was one word to describe us, we are implementers. And so whatever the CORE coaches were telling us to do, we did it. And we read Rating Fans, and we started doing it +1. And that became sort of our mantra and what we wanted to be about. So now, 2 years later, I'm very happy to say that when I went into the CORE, and now when I'm graduating from the CORE, I've seen a 45% growth in my business. I have more friends. I have more contacts. My phone calls are so much easier. The very thing that I used to dread more than anything in the world, I now look forward to. And we are having events. We are connected with our locals. We're out raising money for different organizations, and it's a joy. It is a joy. And my team has grown, and Juliana is now telling me this is too long, so I'm going to have to cut it short, but I just want to give you a word of encouragement. I will say be strong and courageous, and I intend to stay in CORE and watch it continue to grow my business and help me have a better handle on my business. At the very beginning, when I wrote that intent essay, I said, at the end of the day, I want to be able to say, "Behold, I am a new creation. The old is gone and the new has come." And that is so true. And I am grateful to Rick and to Rita and to all the coaches. I love you all. I will see you all next month. Bye.